Hello? Hello? Shmulik?
Yeah, we're here, Rabbi. We're waiting.
Okay.
Yes, Rabbi, we're here.
Okay, Shalom Aleichem. Sorry, I'm not on the video. I'm sorry, I was glad I was able to get through. I'm a little bit off the grid. Usually once or twice a year I take the kids out for a camping trip. And this time we're mamish off the grid, totally, far from civilization. So I was lucky to get a signal now. Okay. So, tonight, before we start, I'd like to share, the spirit, I'm sitting next to the bonfire, and all the little creatures are coming out. Today we had a funny experience. We had some Sidurim and books on the table. Some animal came with the claws. And good thing is that's the Bechla. So, sitting now right next to the campfire, and we'll start the shir of Shema Yisrael with a nigun that my Zayda loves to share from his father, which is one of the 10 nigunim of the Alter Rebbe. Kiyudua that the Alter Rebbe had 10 nigunim that were considered like the 10 nigunim of the Alter Rebbe. One of the 10 nigunim is, as known to all of us, the Dalet Babas, which we sing only at special occasions, like when the Chos and Kala are coming under the Chuppah. We sing it on Yutas Kislev, and so on. There are some of the songs from the 10 songs that are also a Tenua. And that is like the song of Shema Yisrael. My Zayda used to say it as much as he could, B'diuk from his father, which heard it B'diuk Otzum from the Rebbe Rashab. There was a time when the Frierdiker Rebbe asked him that he should get a chazan to write notes, to get should have it l'doides. And he couldn't get a chazan he got someone who was a goy. And he said a goy couldn't understand it. He never really wrote it well. Anyway. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, Ve'ohaveto Eis Hashem Elokeinu, Bechol Levov ובכל נפשך ובכל מיודך. Okay, let's start learning. Tonight we said that we're going to focus on Baruch Shem. Tefillah Baruch Shem. So the Gemara says in Psochim, what's the mocker of this Tefillah? The Gemara says that B'shas, the Petida of Yaakov Avinu, that all of a sudden there was nostalgic from Ruach HaKodesh. He wanted to tell them the future, and he was scared that he said maybe there's a psul, maybe chas v'sholom there's a problem with one of the children, that in the outside they look kosher and the inside is not so kosher. And he was trembling. Maybe there is a psul in one of his children. And he said, Shema yev psul bazari. And the children told him, no, don't worry. They said, don't worry. They said to Yaakov Avinu, they said, Shema Yisrael. Hear our father Yisrael. Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Kashem Shem belibach ela echad, kachem belibenu ela echad. That your God is our God. And by you, the Eibush is Echad, and by us is Echad. So the Yaakov Avinu said at that moment, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus Elolam Vod. The Gemara says, Amri Rabbanon Hechi Navid. What should we do? Neimerihu. If we will say it, Lo Yamari Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu never said it. How could we say it? Lo Nimerehu. We're not going to say it. Amri Yaakov. Yaakov Avinu said it. So how could we not say it? Iskinu Shioim Nemoise Bechashoi. So they made a takona that they should say Bechashoi quietly. There's a mashal for Abbas Melech. She smelled the delicious things called tzike kedera. What's tzike kedera? When you cook, a lot of times the gedichte, the spices, some of the good stuff end up in the bottom of the pot. You know what I mean? Like the rice, the crunchy rice that's in the bottom of the pan. Whatever, like a dish that you made, the spice stuff, falls to the bottom of the pot. So that is tzike kedera. When they serve in Washington D.C. in the White House, when they serve, they don't put tzike kedera on the table. Even perhaps maybe the president likes to have some crunchy rice. But Lepoil, that's not a bechubedik way to serve beveis hamelech, beveis hamalchus. But now, at the end of the meal, they warm up some of the extras, and the workers eat it. They eat it up. But the Bas Melech smelled it, and she really was delicious. It was like, that crunchy rice or that spicy that falls to the bottom of the pot that you scrape up. And it was really delicious. Im toimar yesh lo gnai, loy toimar yesh lo tzar. If she will say, please give me some of the tzike kedera, Hashem had gesagt. She eats by her father's table. They serve the best in the Shenste. They serve in a royal manner. What are you going to eat over there like the servants eat from the bottom of the pot? On the other hand, she will not say her request, the big tsar, because she smells it and it's delicious. She would love to have it. So her servants realized her pain and her dilemma, so they started to bring her the tzike kedera b'chashoy. So this is a good pshora. So on the one hand, there's no tsar, she gets her delicious meal. On the other hand, there's no gnai. They're not serving it. They're not making a big hoo-ha out of him. They bring it quietly to her. Gewaldige solution. A simple question is, what's the Gewalt? Chazal have a problem. Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't mention Baruch Shem. Yaakov Avinu said it. There's a special story about it. He said, "Osvu ve'gid lachem, because Yaakov legalus labonim keitz hayom and estalkem neshchina." It's a story, unbelievable story, and therefore we want to say Baruch Shem, which is the shvach that Yaakov Avinu said when the Yidden proclaimed that Hashem Elokeinu and Hashem Echad. Now then, Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't say in the Torah, so the Pshari say quietly. What's the mashal adding over here? Something very deep, something very unique. Can't explain it just like this. If they tell a story based on the story, you can. What is the story? What does the mashal add? Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't write it in the Torah. Yaakov Avinu said it. There's a spectacular story with it, showing about how Bnei Yisrael, the Eden, really are dedicated to Hashem Echad. And the Shvach that Yaakov Avinu said, Baruch Hashem, is a moededik Shvach to the Eibishter. We want to say it, but we say it quietly because L'Poil, it's not written in the Torah. What does the mashal add? There's a biur nifla from the Rebbe Rashab. If you remember, in the last few years before Gimel Tammuz, the Rebbe made himself so available. It was like, at any given moment, we went into 770. If you waited long enough, you'd meet the Rebbe. And if you waited long enough, you'd get a dollar, you'd get a lekach, you'd get a sefer, a kuntres. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. It was like Meilim B'Kodesh by the Rebbe. B'chlal, in the whole Seder Avodah in his whole life, he saw the Inyan of Meilim B'Kodesh. The Frat, the last few years, felt the urgency in the Rebbe. The Rebbe was the urgency about bringing Mashiach Tzidkenu. And on the one hand, the other hand, making himself more available to the Olam than ever before. There was a kuntas that was written, a kuntas Eitz Chaim, beautiful kuntas with the Rebbe Rashab, about what should be the yesod of a yeshiva. Wie stellt man weg a yeshiva? What should be the derech halimud? Wie lernt man a Gemara Rashi Tosfos? It's a must read. It's a must read kuntas. Kuntas Eitz Chaim. And the Rebbe Rashab, on the one hand, was very deep. It's called the Rambam of Torah Chasidus Chabad. On the other hand, the kuntresim that he wrote are very readable, very geschmack. Ois Tess brings this mashal, and he explains what's the gewalt in the mashal. There's two types of foods. As the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya Perek Chav Zayin, Aseli Matamim, the Shechina says to the Eden, make me delicacies, kasher I have to. There's two types of delicacies. There is tzaddikim. Tzaddikim make for the Eibusha delicacies. Mesukim medvash v'noifes tzufim. A dripping of honey. It's delicious. It's delicious. However, there are foods that are tart, and dafke they are more delicious. They're meishivas hanefesh. Think about it. When you're starving, hungry, select an ishtin cup. You have a little bit of chocolate pudding. You're gonna have a pastry. Give me a piece of cheese. Give me a piece of meat. Give me a salty piece of something pastrami. Give me a good bagel. You know. Don't talk to me about a little bit of a little bit of yogurt. Because when there's dafka something about the spicy foods that are meishivas hanefesh. The spicy food is the yid that is avodas Hashem is not like a tzaddik. A tzaddik is mahapach merira lemiska. He turns the bitter into sweet. It's dvash v'noifes tzufim. The avodas Hashem of the yid that's not a tzaddik, and there is constantly a battle and a struggle. Yetzer Hara is not interested, and he's not in the mood, and it's his skafia. He breaks himself to do the Ratzon Hashem Yisborech. So that's the tart food. That's the spicy. There's two types of eating. The pasuk says, "Tzaddik oichel l'soy v'nafshe betzim l'shem techsem." Chepashtas, the pasuk means that the tzaddik eats, he's satisfied, he's happy. He goes, Rasha wants a little more pleasure. He eats until he gets until he eats his heart out. He's unhealthy. But that's Chassidus explains that there's two types of achilas. There's achilah of a tzaddik. Alter Rebbe had a good friend, Reb Shlomo Karlin, and Reb Shlomo was coming for Shabbos, and there was such a simcha that all of a sudden there was some machloikis in the house. The daughter of the Alter Rebbe said she's always cooking for Shabbos. Now the mother said that this Shabbos kommt doch der tzaddik Reb Shlomo. She wants to cook. It's not fair. She always cooks. She has a chazaka. She always cooks. Now this one Shabbos, Reb Shlomo is coming. Why should she lose this chus? Mother said, she's helping me. Okay. But I'm the mother. I'm the balabast, and I want to have this chus. So they both came to the Alter Rebbe, and they presented their tainus. The Alter Rebbe said that on the one hand, his wife is right, but the daughter has a taina. He'd like to suggest a hatzoah of a pshara. Chazal say, awful tofa, the Pasuk says, awful tofa b'li melech. You can't eat without salt. The salt really makes the food. So one person will cook and the other person will put in the salt. The mother will cook and the daughter will put in the salt. Okay? It's good pshara. Kachav. Problem was, when the mother cooked, she forgot the deal that she's supposed to cook without the salt. She cooked and she put in the salt and plenty of salt. The daughter came. She put in the salt. They served the fish, the Alter Rebbe eat, and Reb Shlomo is not eating. Reb Shlomo pushed away the plate. The Alter Rebbe said, what's the matter? Why don't you eat the fish? L'kavod Shabbos. He said, it's unedible, it's very salty. The Alter Rebbe was misnatzel. The Alter Rebbe excused himself. The Alter Rebbe said that, from when he went to the Magid, he doesn't taste the ta'am of achila. So he didn't realize it was salty. Sorry. There is a tzaddik that eats, and in Bechlal, every Yid, the Shabbos, and he eats Shabbos, a tzaddik, no, boited also on Shabbos. There's no avodas habirurim in Shabbos. There's no ra in Shabbos. The proper eating of Shabbos is not boited. Boited is also in Shabbos. We're not picking the good out of the bad or the bad out of the good. We're not separating the good from the bad. It's tzaddik oichel l'sei v'nafshi. But there is a mila and a certain type of avodah during the week. The Yid engages in Olam Hazeh. He does have a taiva. He does have a taiva. That's not I'm going to sit in the base medrash. He wants to go out. He wants to go camping somewhere in the middle of the boondocks. But there's Netzutas Kedusha over there. So the tzaddik never touches those Netzutas. But this Yid sevil tzacham yes, now this little ice cream. There's Netzutas Kedusha there. He eats it l'shem shemayim l'poil. He takes it away from the Rishoyim. There's a big difference between these two avodas. It's not only that one is sour and one is sweet. the tzaddikim is tzaddik oichel otzev nafshoi. The avodas Hashem of tzaddikim is mesukim et vasher noifes tzufim, and that the Beinani is better Hashem techser. He's always involved in avodas habirurim because he naturally likes Olam Hazeh. So he wants to have a good job, and he wants to go out on a vacation, and he wants to eat good stuff, and he wants to hear good music, and he wants to engage in Olam Hazeh. But he realizes that he has to, that the Elokus, the Eibishter, the Iker, and the Ikrim is the Megala Achtas of the Eibishter in the Welt. So he does it l'shem Shamayim. So he does it l'shem Shamayim. There's a mile in it. He elevates the sparks of Kedusha. His difference is, it's like the difference of when you take a candle and you burn with oil and then a wick, you have beautiful fire. Or if you make a bonfire like I'm sitting here with the crackling wood, and the wood is crackling. Why is it crackling? Dafka now you got some good wood. It's dry wood. But there was the last time I got wood. It was terrible. Because the wood, if there's any moisture in the wood, it's going against the fire. So that black smoke, and it's full of noise and crackling. Why? And avodas Hashem of tzaddikim, because they're muchen to have avodas Hashem, so the wick burns delicious with the fire. It's quiet. It's kalois hanefesh. On the Beinani, on the other hand, there's a lot of crackling because there's resistance. There's a ruach sora. Basically, it's a life full of struggles. There's a lot of struggle, a lot of friction, and a lot of crackling, a lot of noise, a lot of smoke, a lot of black smoke. This difference of tzaddikim and beinanim, tzaddikim and non-tzaddikim, is similar to the difference of in the Sfidas Elyonis between Ben Ubas. Ben Ubas is the 7 midas of Atzilus and Nukva and midas of Malchus. So the difference of these two, Ben Ubas, is the 6 midas of Atzilus. They're only Atzilus over there. They know nothing besides Eibishter. They know nothing besides Eibishter. What's Eibishter? Yechudi Elah. The Zohar says there's two types of Yechuda. There's Yechudi Elah and Yechuda Tatorah. What's the difference between Yechudi Elah and Yechuda Tatorah? The Zohar says that Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus Elam Vod Bechiluf Asvan is Echad. Vod is really Echad. How does Vod really become Echad? Vod, because you could spin the letters in Lashon Kodesh. There's many ways you could spin the letters. For example, under the bitter communist Russia, when Chassidim wrote letters, everything needed to be coded. They shouldn't be found. They shouldn't be caught. And one of the deep connections that a Chassid has with the Rebbe is that he shares his bread with the Rebbe. Besides tzedakah, he gives maimed to the Rebbe. Maimed is maimed. The Rebbe, for example, had money, right? The Rebbe used to give out dollars. Sunday morning, it was thousands of dollars, other projects. It was personal money. Where did the Rebbe have money? Maimed from the Chassidim. It was maimed. So in the letters, they used to call it nifna. There's a thing in Lashon Kodesh that sometimes every letter gets exchanged with the letter afterwards. So instead of maimed in the letters, it was called nifna. So voed, there's many ways of spinning letters. For example, achahem agoren, aleph ches hey ayin. It comes from the throat. So the ayin of voed and the ches of echad come from the same place. So they get spinned. And then there is the dalid of echad and the dalid of voed. They also, this is a big dalid, a small dalid. So what the Chassidus explains, what does it mean? Yechudi Elah, Yechudi Tatorah. And what does it mean? Well, that's a funny thing. Voed, bechilufei asmi, you can spin the letters in all kinds of funny ways, and then voed becomes echad. What does that mean? It means, I guess, there's two types of yichud. There is a person that sees nishtaken welt, just like we spoke about last week. Echad means there is a eibishter geschayis the oilamus. That there is eibishter. There is no oilamus. Nitaken welt, nitaken ich. Nitaken Welt. There is no world, there is no I. That's Yichud Eloah. Batal b'metzias. There is no metzias. Yichud Tatah. There is a world. Elamai, the tachlis of everything is the Eibishter. And therefore, the difference in Avodah Hashem is huge. Here, a person is only Torah of Avodah. In the higher level. The lower level is a person is in business, he's in Main Street, he's in Wall Street. Elamai, you realize that the Ikad is not the business. The Ikad is not the profit. The Ikad is not the deal. The Ikad is to give the tzedakah, to pay tuition, to have a good chinuch for his children, to have achnosas orchim, to have avas yisrael. The matorah and the eating is not to enjoy a good steak. It's to be healthy, and you to have koyach, to daven and to learn, and to do avodas Hashem. Same thing with exercise. It's not because he wants his physique to be gewaldig. Because he wants to serve the Eibishter. You can't serve the Eibishter if you're not healthy. You don't have a good blood circulation. So mainly he does exercise. He realizes that the Gashmias is tough to avodas Hashem. But there is Gashmias. That's Yichud Tatah. That's why you have to spin the letters good. When you spin and spin and spin, you find really that word is Echad. But Echad is Yichud Eloah. Yichud Tatah is word. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. That's Echad. In the higher level, Yichud Eloah. The lower level, Yichud Tatah is Baruch Hashem Kavod Malchus Elolam Vod. That's why explains the Rebbe Rashab. Mishnah says that the Anshi Jericho hoy korchin shma v'lo micha b'em chachamim. What does it mean? The Anshi Jericho korchin shma v'lo micha b'em chachamim. Pshat is that they said Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. They never said Baruch Shem. They didn't say Baruch Shem. They didn't say it loud. They didn't say it quiet. They didn't say it. Period. It didn't say. And even though Chacham didn't feel it was the right thing, Chacham weren't moicha. Why? So Chassidus explains. Because Anshi Jericho were big tzaddikim. And they're darga of Reyach, and Reyach of Shoman and Ismenu. They're big darga of Avodas Hashem. And some gehalten by Yichud Eloah, and say, we don't want Yichud Tatah. Why need Yichud Tatah? We want just Yichud Eloah. Chacham said that it's not the right thing, because there's a mile in Yichud Tatah, because there's Avodas Habirurim there. Because for it, there is a special mile in Yichud Eloah. But the emissaries Chazal hold that there is a certain mile in Yichud Tatah. It's a tzaddik doesn't have a thing to push him to engage in Olam Hazeh. He doesn't have something to push him to go see the big world, to go engage in business and commerce, to go engage in music and the arts, in the sciences, to go engage in another achila and another achila. So, but then he doesn't have the opportunity to take out the sparks of Kedusha that are in them. He's not out there. He's not out there. You have to be out there to make a deal. So, but he's not out there. So he's not making the deal. When I Yid, a Balaisik, it's Mashem Tzadik Eva Karnanu. I told you this. There's a story from there. I'm going to take a story from the Rebbe. And we're sitting now tonight, it's a night before Gimel Tammuz. Tomorrow night will already be Gimel Tammuz. I want to share with you a story that I read from Rabbi Shapiro in Crown Heights. His father-in-law was Rabbi Mendel, who used to work for the Rebbe. And he was asked this bracha for the Rebbe bracha for his son-in-law going to business. He was going. The Rebbe used to give him a bracha, give him $1, and asked. The Rebbe had different years, different campaigns. As you know, whenever the Rebbe was at the campaign, Mifta Tefillah, the Rebbe started before the 67 war. The Rebbe said Sakona Klal Yisrael. No one knew what the Rebbe was talking about. Tefillah. The Rebbe that year, the Rebbe spoke Tefillah. Every Shabbos was connected. Every parish, everything. Neshek. 10 Miftzayim. Then there was a project that Rebbe had that every Yid, especially every Jewish child, should be written in the Sefer Torah. Every child should purchase a ois in the Sefer Torah. It was very choshev to the Rebbe, this thing. Agav, it was choshev. It is choshev. If you know of a child that doesn't yet have a ois in the Sefer Torah, it's a moidig thing to make sure that the child has an ois in the Sefer Torah. And even yourself and the family, last time you had a baby and you didn't you get around to it, make sure you purchase for the baby an ois in the Sefer Torah. Is very important. So the Rebbe said that whenever he comes to a town, he should make sure that he finds at least one yid to buy an ois in the Sefer Torah. He was in Keystone, Texas, and he was there for a deal. And then he realized, The Rebbe said he has to find. Wo gefällt mir Iyun in Keystone, Texas? He went into a store. He says to the owner, "Do you know there's any Jews in Keystone, Texas?" The guy says, "I don't know, but I'm Jewish." He says, "You're Jewish?" He says, "Yeah. You want come in my office." He's a Jew from the Bronx. Avarim Yidela. Tells him about the Oisen Sefer Torah. Do you have any children? Yeah, he has 2 children. Yeah, he'd like to have the Oisen Sefer Torah. You'd like to give me information? Yeah, sure. We can keep in contact, sure. So he convinced him to send the sons to camp, Gan Yisrael. The kids, the camp does an unbelievable thing on a child. Kids sit at the bonfire and they sing songs that happened Yom Kippur as they were praying. A little bird is calling, and the kids they came back home. They want to be from. So they moved to Jewish. They moved to Jewish neighborhoods in the kids in the yeshiva. Today, the whole family is from, and some of those children are shluchim. So he said there was a dvar pella to him that after that he had no business ever again in Keystone, Texas. The Baal Shem Tov says, "Mashem etzadik evetenomnu." His business mechatchila, the shlichus was to mekarev Ayid. He thought it was business. The emphasis every time, in everything in life, the matorah ikris is to bring out the netzutzas kedusha in the situation or in the place that we're in. But after the yid that is nimshach into olam hazeh, the balaisik, is more picking up the netzutzas kedusha that are out there, and this is what brings us back to the Bas HaMelech. What's the mashal of the Bas HaMelech? Ben Ubas, as we said, is Ben Ubas is Zo Malchus. The Bas of Geschmeckt. The Indian of Malchus is that Iragla, you're the smallest, it goes down. Vatiten teref lebeis, vatokem boidlaila, vatiten teref lebeis. So Malchus goes and creates the oilamus of Briyat Sirevasiya. It goes into the world and brings teref, because it also is Mila the Netzutzas and Kedusha and the lower oilamus as well. That's Avodas Avirurim. So the Bas Melech geschmeckt that there's a moedige meilen going down in Briyat Sirevasiya and picking up over there in Netzutzas of Kedusha. Elamai, there's a pitfall? Sometimes a person gets so nimshach into Gashmias, he thinks he's in Keystone, Texas to do business, to sell insurance. He forgets that the real reason is to sell an ois in the Sefer Torah. Me and you, we also make that mistake sometimes. We think we're in a certain place in the world to relax, to have vacation, to do business. But the emes is, it's not that way. It's to bring out the netzutzas of Kedusha, it's avodas habirurim. And that's b'diuk the point that he's scared. Im toima yesh l'gnai. Toima means I'm shochet, to go down. Im toima, if we'll go down to do avodas habirurim. Loi toima yesh l'tzar. To lose out on this unbelievable tainu godel and the avodas Hashem the Eibishter has, it's a chaval to lose this opportunity. Was tut man? What tut man? Chashoy. To do b'chashoy. What's the brilliance of, just like in the Bas Melech, it's not bekovedik. It's a pastnish that she should ask for the tzike kedera, but for it to shmek good. So they bring it to b'chashoy. This is what the Rebbe Rashab says, that the brilliance of the answer is, of the moshel is, that sometimes you wonder, what do me and you have to do with Yechudei Lo? We're learning last week, Pshat, Remez, Drush, Soid, okay. But then we're learning the Alter Rebbe's, Echod, the Token Welt, the Token Ich. Me and you, we have to be, the Chazal says, the Choch HaMakers Makoyma, where me and you have a Shaykh such Avodah. But you see, Chassidus is very much emphasizes this thing of Yechudei Lo. And why? Why, says the Rebbe Rashab? Because that's the avoid of b'chashoy. Because even if we don't really have the full feeling of Yechudei Lo, but we know we ought to have that feeling, and in our mind we know that that's the emes. So even though we get involved in Yehuda Tata, which is not the life of a tzaddik, we get involved in Main Street and in Wall Street, and we travel and we get involved in the in the music and in the arts and the sciences, and we get involved in the food and this food and that food. And the ikir is to do avodas berurim. Maybe a yid will chas v'sholem get drawn into Olam Hazeh. He'll forget. He'll think the reason he's in Olam Hazeh is for Olam Hazeh. You think in Keystone, Texas, to sell insurance? The eitzah is the chashoy. The avodas Hashem of Yehuda Ilah is always done b'chashoy. There's no crackling. It's quiet. The Yehuda Tator is always done with hakor ash gadol because there's a resistance. To do be'emes, you can't say im toimar yesh lagnai. Vayid will just go into the oilamas of Malchus, will just go into B'yitziyasi and avodas Hashem. Vayid will only be nimshach into oilamas. Maybe he'll take be drawn down. Achas v'sholem, he won't elevate the world will drag him down. But loy toimar, not to do the avodas berurim yesh l'tzar. The Yid will have unbelievable tzar. Malchus atzilus is tzar. It says b'chashoy to do. Just like the avoid of Yehuda Ilah Chashoy, without the crack, without the resistance, that a Yid is taka, even though he knows that his place in avodas Hashem is void, not echod, Yehuda Taton, not Yehuda Ilah, but he puts his eyes into Yehuda Ilah to try as much to connect to Yehuda Ilah. And that's the brilliance of this mashal. And that's how the mashal adds to explain the idea of why Shema Yisrael is said loud and Baruch Shem is said b'chashoy. With this, we can understand the Inyan and the Chassidus that we have so much in Chassidus that the Torah Chassidus talks about Heicha Dargis, just like we said now Yehudi Law, Bittul Metzias. What are we talking? Who are we talking about? Who are we talking about there? We're talking about Shmuel Munkis. We're talking about Pesach Malas Tovker. We're talking about Isaac Homler. We're talking for me and you. What are these things for me and you? Are we holding at Yehudi Law? Are we holding at Bittul Metzias? Are we really holding at that? The answer is, even if we're not holding at that, but it helps us, even though we're in a lower dag in avodas Hashem, many dag is lower. In Yehuda Tator itself, and Tator Shabbat Tator. But since we know, and we set our sights in Yehuda Ilah, that helps that we shouldn't falter. We shouldn't fall. Emes Taka, there's nothing like a good shtickle musar to make you feel ashamed for narishkeit and the malikt stam and abrota. We're upset or happy. What makes us happy is when we built a sand castle, and what makes us upset is when we destroyed it. It's destroyed. The good shtickle musar talks straight to your heart. It's a dagger. In the Himmel, Yehuda Ilah, who connects to Yehuda Ilah? But when you know about Yehuda Ilah, and it goes into our consciousness, that helps us that we wouldn't falter even when our avodas Hashem be'emes in Yehuda Tator. And that's really why it ends up in the Kuntres of Eitz Chaim. So over there he was set up in the new Seder HaYeshiva of learning 12 hours, 8 hours, Nigla the Torah, and 4 hours Nister the Torah. Because even though there's a mile of Nigla the Torah, sort of the Yehuda Tator, but it has to be anchored also in the Yehuda Ilah, the Limud of Pnimis Torah. Okay, so this is the story of Baruch Shem Kavod Malchut Salomad. Even though Be'emes, before we drop off on the sugya, there's a Maimah Chazal Medrash, and the Alter Rebbe also brings in Shulchan Aruch and Hilchos Yom Kippur a story about Moshe Rabbeinu going up to heaven, and a mashal that also a mashal, the person that took jewelry from the king's house and gave it to his wife. He told her, don't wear it publicly, wear it privately. That this beautiful thing of shame, that Moshe Rabbeinu heard it from the Malachim. He told the Yidden to say it quietly because they took it from the Malachim. And Yom Kippur, we're like Malachim, we could say it loud. But that's a secondary reason that's brought in Hilchos Yom Kippur, Lagabe, why we say it loud in Yom Kippur. That's the real reason that Chazal, the Gemara says in Psachim, is the Inyan of Moshe, the story, the tension between Moshe Rabbeinu and Yaakov Avinu. In timer, loy timer. In timer, yesh l'gai. Loy timer, yesh l'tzar. Bottom line. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, Yehuda Ilah. Baruch Hashem Kavod Malchut Salomad, Yehuda Tator. It's a totally different avodah. Here in the Tockenveld, and the lower, it's a Doaveld. Lamai, Yid engages in it to do avodas habirurim. But there's a sweetness in it. There's an unbelievable mile in it. But in order not to falter, we set our sights in Yechudei Law. And I think this will help us understand a lot in the Rebbe's Toides. That throughout the years, the Rebbe took us on a ride. Took us on a ride in his personal avodas Hashem. How he felt. And just the other day, Sunday night, I shared the Sikha. But the Rebbe Pasha shared his feelings. As someone said, they'll schlock up his derech and ashing. It's interesting how the Rebbe shared his personal feelings with Chassidim. But a person said, the Rebbe's avodah, his Avos Yisrael. How do I connect to the Avos Yisrael of the Rebbe? But that's the point. But even if I'm not connecting, and my Avos Yisrael is not the Avos Yisrael, and my Midas Toivus is not that type, and that my avodas Tefillah is not that way, and my Limud HaTorah is not that way, but this is for me the ideal. We set the goal very high. It's not just that we set the goal, but this is on our consciousness. This is the way it should be. So even our avodah, which is not in Yechudei Law, the Yechudei Torah won't falter. L'chaim Yidin. I apologize that tonight we're not going to end up learning the Gemara. Bli Neder from next week, it was Shema Yisrael and Baruch Shem are heavy stuff. Hopefully from next week we'll go back to the Seder of 50-50 between the Gemara and the Pirush Amilos. But anyway, tonight is Roy that we should spend a little time Achonos for Gimel Tammuz. Let this be Achonos for Gimel Tammuz. We spoke about Sunday night, that the opposite. Haman says, Yasa H. Chamishim Amma. He says we should take the big tzaddik and put them on a pedestal. Chamishim Amma said, boy, the dik tzaddik, that tzaddik. But really, what Haman is trying to accomplish is that you should feel, what's a bich medeh tzaddik? I could copy the midas toivus of the tzaddik. I could get a little of Hashem Etzmena, the derech halimud of the tzaddik, his avodas Hashem. And but the faket, that's the trickery that Haman Arosha tries. That's why he's Arosha. We have to know that no faket, that dafke the moira de kavod of Yechudei Law is what anchors the Yechudei Torah and allows that we shouldn't falter even when our avodas Hashem is in Yechudei Torah. L'chaim Yidin.
L'chaim. Okay, Menachem Pomerantz has a surgery tomorrow. Everybody knows that?
Yes. The Eibush will help him. The Menachem. What's the full name? Menachem Ben?
Menachem Ben Sarah Leah.
Menachem Ben Sarah Leah. So you should have
a surgery tomorrow morning. He's very worried. Very worried. It's on the spine.
Yes.